Hey folks, it's time for TWiP PRO Photo Critique number 79. This is TWiP. Hey there, welcome back to another TWiP PRO Photo Critique. I'm here with my good friend Mr. Troy Miller. We're here to talk through some of the latest submissions to the TWiP PRO Photo Critique area within our community. This week's challenge topic was depth of field. Depth of field. Troy Miller, what do you think, man? Any good depth of field shots in this batch?
There's a lot of really good depth of field shots. I think last time we kind of talked about, how the open topics seem to get a lot of images, but this one, I think we have 15, and there's some great images in here. So I'm pretty stoked, especially since I picked it.
Oh, did you pick this topic? I thought I picked it.
Well, it was kind of a co-pick because of F64 event that happened over the weekend. So we thought, yeah, that would be kind of a fun thing to do.
Well, what do you say we dive in? Let's take a look at these images and see what's out of focus in the DoF depth of field critique. Let me bring up the photo critique here. All right, look up. First up is Michael Rhino. Michael says, I was out in a sunflower field last night out near the Denver International Airport and captured the one flower that was standing above the rest. I didn't want to go too shallow with depth of field as I didn't want the supporting flowers to lose their perspective. I like the way that one stands out in focus as compared to the other. See, that's the magic of depth of field right there, right? Look at that. That's art. That is art right there. I love it. Yeah, even got a little side lighting on the little fur on the stalk.
Yeah, little backlight.
Little backlight, rim light. Yep.
No, I dig it. You got so many colors going on in here, and it's so warm. You've got the yellows and then the warm color in the sky. I wish there was a little more light in the sunflower itself. So that it stood out a little bit more. Maybe
popped out a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe some dodging and burning in there. That would be nice. There's a couple dust spots in the top right corner.
Mm-hmm.
But, only other thing I would say is make it black and white.
Oh, no. No, good. I'm glad you're kidding. Good. And there's no keyline border on this. What was he thinking? No,
it's good. I love it center.
Yeah, no, he did a good job. I really like this. This is magical. It's like one of those magical photos. Another world. You can see Alice in Wonderland running around back there.
Yes, yeah. You can see the light rays and everything now. Very good job, Michael.
Yeah, good job, Michael Rhino. All right, Amy Brooks is up next. And Amy says, shot in Death Valley. Props to the critter getting down this dune without sliding. Look at that.
Yeah, I think those are stink bug tracks.
Stick bug or stink bug?
Stink bug. I think it's a stink bug track. I'm not. I remember seeing these in Glamis a lot, so I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's probably like a stink bug. But this is one of my favorites. Yeah,
I like this. I like this shot. I like the use of her use of shadow and lower thirds in the shot. She's got the shadow point off to the corner and the stink bug. You sure those are stink bug tracks? I don't know. So the stink bug tracks kind of meet the corner shadow and make an arrow. Did you notice that? It looks like a little arrow pointing out of the frame.
I do. We have a lot of elements going on in this image that I really enjoy. One is it's the depth of field. The other is leading line. So we go to the top left corner. That trail leads us into the image, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have triangles. So we have that lower triangle, the lower right triangle, that is dark, so it doesn't draw us out of the image, but it's a really pleasing shape. And then the piece that's left over on the left side or the bright side, that's almost a triangle. It's got sort of a geometric shape. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah.
And she played with the bokeh because, like you said, the upper left is falling off. Is that real? Is that really falling off? Is that a real bokeh or is that a blur added later, do you think? A gradient layer mask with a Gaussian blur added to it.
I think it's real. It looks real. Yeah, because it's not only just blurry, but the specular highlights in there, they're flaring, which you usually don't get when you just do a blur.
Yeah, I like it. I like this. This makes you stare at it. It's a really good shot.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Amy, I think you should have hunted down that critter that made those tracks to get a shot of him too.
Yeah,
or maybe not.
And the dude's probably not as big as it appears, because if the bug, we still see the track, but it could be like some giant tractor crawler that went down a 200-foot dune or something.
Right, right. You never know. We have a sense of scale in here. All right, Alicia's up next. And Alicia says, I realize what a risk posting wedding images are when Troy Miller's in the house. Yeah. Troy's in the house. You know he's going to nitpick this one to death. Troy, without further delay, I leave it to you. What do you think?
You know what? Because she tagged me in this one, I saw it early up in the submission, and I really love it. The center diamond is in focus, which is so critical. The depth of field on this is super, super shallow. It's not even the depth of the rings themselves. So that's really well done. And I like the composition. I like all that negative space up top. I don't know, if I would go that high to make it a vertical. I would probably go more for square. And the reason I say that is I think it'll fit in a wedding album better as square, as opposed to just vertical. But this is exceptionally well done. This is really nice.
Yeah, no, I like it too. Yeah, I like it too. I thought you were going to say the rings were too close to the bottom of the frame. They need a little chin room down there.
If it wasn't out of focus at the bottom, I would have said that. But because the ring itself, his ring at the bottom, is out of focus, we really don't spend time looking there. So the diamond and her ring is really where I'm looking, and I feel like that's far enough up from the bottom. I like it. It's great.
Very good. See, Elisa, you made it. You got the seal of approval from the Troy Miller.
No need to be afraid.
Yeah. Be afraid. All right, James Glennie's up next. James says, playing with the focus plane and depth of field. We're sitting in a coffee shop with some friends and decided to start playing with the focal plane and depth of field on the sweaty glass of iced mocha, made black and white to pander to Troy Miller. This is freaky. I look at this sort of makes me feel weird. I don't know. It looks kind of biological, or I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting, but it gives me that sort of weird gullah feeling. I don't know.
Yeah, at first, when I first saw it took me a second to figure, because I thought they were dimples. And I was trying to figure out, like, what the heck would have dimples like that, right? Like, it's not a golf ball, it's not a lemon or a lime or anything like that. And then I had to read the description to realize that they're not dimples, it's actually water drops. So we have this great shallow depth of field, and I feel kind of an optical illusion Escher-esque kind of feel. Mm-hmm. My suggestion, however, would be to crop off the right side to get rid of the largest water drop on the lower right. Mm-hmm. Because I think that the little water drops do a better job of telling the story, and I think that big one to me is just a little distracting. So I would make this image slightly more vertical.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Yeah, because it's abstract, so you could do whatever you want to do, right?
Right.
You could rotate it, whatever. When I look at these, I don't know if it's just my brain or an optical illusion or whatever, but they look concave. They look like they're right. They look like, I know they're water droplets, so they're convex, but they look concave to me. So like they're going into the glass.
Yeah, that's why I said in the beginning that I thought that they were dimples.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I thought they went in. Mm-hmm. So we have that optical illusion.
I love that.
I know. There's so many good ones in this set.
Yeah, good job. Good job, peoples. I like it. All right, next shot up.
I think you're going to have to pick the winner. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can if I can choose one.
You can't choose your favorite child. This one's from Craig Stampley. He says, I couldn't find any fields, shallow or otherwise, so this bit of coastline will have to do. Shot at f4. Seems to be the sharpest aperture for this drone, and it is fast enough to stop the water and provide some definition. Top tip, if anyone's traveling to New Jersey, make sure you change your camera settings from northern hemisphere to southern hemisphere. Otherwise, your images come out upside down. See? Yeah,
Yeah. Again, proof again. Yes.
Yeah, that's Jersey Shore right there. I've never seen Jersey Shore look like that. It's really nice.
Oh my god.
No, this is lovely though. This is art. It just kind of use the planet as your palette, and it especially from a drone and these what do you call it, perpendicular angles, shooting straight down with a drone at height. It makes it hard to figure out scale, and everything becomes just an element of art at that altitude. Yeah, this is really nice.
Yeah, I think Craig submitted something like this before, of some waves crashing or a pier or something, or like a dock. I love the abstractness of this. This is really amazing. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking I might crop off where the grass or the greenery is, because I think that addition of color to me is a bit distracting.
On the left, yeah.
Yeah, so I think and it's neat because you've got the shoreline almost mirrors the water. Right, but it doesn't have water on it, and the only way we know is we can see that shoreline in there. So this is a portfolio shot that needs to be big. To go big.
No, for sure. Would you have cropped this square and had equal size? Lose the grass on the left side or the greenery on the left side, and lose some of the water on the right side, and have maybe that shoreline snake through the center of the image.
Yeah, I was just cropping it, which you probably saw me, right? Like,
yeah,
you saw my hands up as you were saying. I'm like, that would actually be really cool. Just cut it right down the middle.
Yeah.
Maybe even give the image a slight Dutch angle, like a slight twist, so that the shore runs slightly diagonal.
Yeah. We should do a version of these critiques where we take. How come I didn't bring this up big? Duh. Where we take these images and edit them, with permission from the author, but we take these images and sort of edit them down so you would actually show this as square with the Dutch angle, with the coastline sort of bisecting the image.
Yeah. Oh, that would be super fun, especially if I could get my hands on the raw image. That would be super cool.
Right. Yeah, maybe if we do something like that, we'll make a request. If you want us to edit your image, send us your edit, in a JPEG and the original RAW file, and we'll have at it, right?
Yes.
All right.
I'm down.
All right, you heard it, folks. An idea is born. Next up is Armando Brook, and Armando says, where to go? This is Saline in South India, the place they accumulate water from the sea. From the sea weight to water they wait for the water to evaporate and then collect the salt. The only man that works there is the boss. All right, let's bring this up. Wow, look at that salt.
That's got to be heavy. I don't know how heavy that is, but that can't.
Damp salt. Yeah, that's going to be heavy.
Wow, great photojournalistic shot and good use of depth of field. I love that. Like you can see the line of salt on the right, and you can see the other workers in the back and the worker in the foreground, but you're really focused on the two in the middle.
Yeah, you can see exactly where the fall off is. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have vignetted this at all? And since you're an expert at compositing clouds into skies, would you put clouds in that white sky?
My only thought when this thing first came up was I wish that the highlights weren't blown out. So, what you can also do for a sky, if you don't want to add clouds, is give it a little bit of color, and then it doesn't feel like it's overexposed as bad. Pure white looks like it's overexposed, right? But just adding a little bit of blue to it can help as well. But yeah.
In his defense, maybe the sky was just an overcast day with white clouds. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard. Like when you're looking at an image, imagine it's a print. It was a term that we would use, as it's paper white, which means there's no gray, there's no toning there. So always trying to get some kind of tone in there is good. Very rarely should you have pure white, only on specular highlights.
Yeah, agreed.
Good
Beautiful.
job.
Yep. Good job, Armando. Armando always comes through. All right, Freddie Sedano's up next. What's up, Freddie? Freddie's giving me tips on how to use my new Ronin SC Steadicam gimbal at F64.
Yeah, you and him were geeking out over gear. I know he's buying something that you showed him, and you're going to buy something he showed you.
Exactly. Dueling Amazon Prime accounts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He says he shot this one in Yosemite. Let's take a look. Yeah, there's your depth of field right there. Here's that fall off.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah,
What would you have done differently here, if anything?
Well, I probably would have cropped the top a little bit, but I would have gone black and white. I think that this is, it's one of those elements that really, really needs to be black and white.
It wants to be black and white. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. And
Other
a little bit
than
closer.
that,
I would say get a little bit closer on that wood detail in the middle, because that looks really interesting. Just the curvature and the waves of the wood. That looks interesting to me. I know this assignment was depth of field, so you got to have some out of focus areas in the shot. But barring that, getting in close and showing that texture and the grit of the wood would have been interesting.
I agree.
All right.
Yep. Good shot, Freddie.
Freddie Sedano.
Yep. He uploaded that sitting around the fire pit.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice. All right, Mark Harris is up next. And Mark Harris says, for the depth of field topic portrait made as part of an art session with model Teresa Manchester, this particular studio has lots of plants. Down at the bottom he says, the camera specs, and this was natural light from large windows to my right on an overcast day. Let's take a look. Yeah, I like that. See, we get stuck up in this whole, like, everything has to be tack sharp and crispy and, clarity +1 and all that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the opposite works great, like this.
No, I love this. And it reminds me a little bit of, like, what I might do on a wedding day or something, like shooting through a veil or shooting through a tree and, making a really soft or sort of pseudo mysterious romantic type shot. Mm-hmm. I feel, I love the depth of field use in here, but I feel like we have a little too much room on the right side, camera right.
Mm-hmm. And she's looking out of frame, right?
Yeah, which I'm okay with that. Like, looking out of frame is great. And then her right shoulder feels a little tense to me. I don't. It's like it's pulled up a little too much. I wish it had been more relaxed. Mm-hmm. But the use of depth of field in here is fantastic, and I think you could probably crop in. You could crop in just like half of her right shoulder, part of the left side, or the camera right, make it maybe more square or kind of vertical.
Mm-hmm. Then I think just right up to where her hair exits the frame at the bottom.
Yeah, and then the image becomes very powerful about her eyes, mm-hmm. and then like even her tattoos, and then just this sort of quiet look.
Yeah. No, I agree. See, another candidate for, let me edit that for you. That's the title of the series. We're coming up with the bits right now. All right. Next one is from Joshua Sommerfeld. I met Joshua for the first time.
Yeah.
Down there at F64 Live. And he shot things other than critters down there.
Yeah. It was good. It was really good.
This is a green. How do you pronounce this word? Is this anole or anole?
God, I have no idea.
Okay, this is a green life form just hanging out in Riverbank's botanical garden.
I really, really, really like this shot. Of all of the shots that Joshua has posted before, I think this is definitely one of my favorite.
Same here. Yeah.
The composition is so simple, and it's so wonderful. It's so easy to look at, and then all the same color tone. And I think I don't normally like things like split in the middle like that unless they have a strong purpose, but I think I like this one like that.
Yeah, I think it works. It definitely works like that. I think it would work. It would work if the life form was off center as well. Like if you had moved him off to the right a little bit, it would have worked just as well. But I like it in the middle. I like his cropping. I like I think this is tight. It's a tight shot.
Yeah, I might take off half of the bottom, the space below the tail. I might take off just half of that, so that way it feels like he's moving, into the frame rather than moving out of the frame because he's tighter at the top.
Yeah. Yep, I hear you.
The highlights are controlled really well. No, this is really neat. Joshua's going to have to tell us how to phonetically pronounce that because now I have to know.
Well, you could Google it. It will tell you.
No, why?
Yeah, why? When you got Joshua.
Joshua knows.
All right. Up next is Eric Pronsky, and Eric says, let's bring this baby up. Okay, I'm going to read all this, but he says, Indian paintbrush, one of the many wildflowers that bless Texas in the springtime, are purple Drummond phlox. I'm going to go with that. Phlox provides the color in the background. This image is actually a composite of the same image taken at f2.8 and f11. The 2.8 image is because the base image that provides the defocused background. When I masked in the f11, the middle part of the Indian paintbrush to give the flower more depth of field. Shot with that particular camera with a diffusion disc to soften the light and a macro adapter. Let's take a look at this. Cool. It's interesting. Yeah, put your camera on a tripod, take multiple exposures, and then do a rudimentary form of focus stacking to give yourself depth of field. That's a good technique, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. I will say though, you have to be exceptionally careful to make sure that all of your edges are properly masked and everything. I can see a couple edges where, like on the right hand side, there's a petal that's been kind of washed away, because it doesn't quite blend in. But I mean, the technique is fantastic. I would probably crop the top. I'd probably make this square right around the flower. I don't think we need
supporting character back there isn't helping you at all.
Well, it does, but I think in small part, right? So let's say that we were to crop around the flower square and tight, the purple will still be back there. It's still a nice contrast, but I don't think we need it sticking up into the frame.
Yeah.
Calling attention is really what it's doing. Because it's a bright color too, our eyes want to keep, bouncing back and forth.
Yep, taking us away from the main hero of the story, which is the paintbrush.
Correct. Yeah, we're overheating the the rods or cones or whatever those are that do color.
Yeah, both of them. All right.
Well, it's really interesting if anybody ever wants to look up, how our eyes work with color. They literally stress out if we look at color for too long. Certain colors, especially.
Like bright colors like reds and yellows.
Yep.
Which is why McDonald's made their logo red and yellow. All right.
But did they know that back in 1940, whatever?
Yeah, they did. For sure they did. We were smart back then too, Troy Millers. All right. Next shot is from Jim Peters. And Jim says, Margie's Cookies. Yes. With each drop of this picture, I took a bite, looked at the chocolate chips breaking out, took another bite and another. I was about to forfeit my shallot depth of field by getting to one chocolate chip, but fortunately the cookie ended, so I stopped cropping. Yeah, look at that. Those are delicious. I love those.
Awesome.
Look at that. Ugh. Hey, Marjorie, send me some more of these.
Yeah, we can, but she makes 8 dozen a week, so.
10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. That's what you do to heat them up in the microwave.
Yeah, you have to do it 3 times in a row. Yeah, I like this shot. It was funny. I was there, because Jim came out for F64, so he came out and hung out, and I saw him taking these photos. So it was really cool. These were just fresh out of the oven because these are sitting on the cooling rack.
Oh,
so
wow. Yeah, can almost taste them. Taste them.
Yep. I might crop off the right side, right to that cookie on the left, just to give it a little more emphasis. But other than that, I think it's good. Maybe some vignetting. I feel like it maybe needs some vignetting for the main character on the left.
Maybe draw attention to that one inverted chocolate chip right there.
Yeah. It looks like eyes, doesn't it? Like the left cookie, like there's 2 eyes, and that's the big puffy nose.
I didn't see that, but now that you said that, I see a chocolate chip flounder.
There you go. Oh, yeah, flounder.
You see it now?
I do.
Yeah, there's our chocolate chip flounder. Joshua Sommerfeld, see if you can't find one of those. Yeah, cool. Good shots. All right, next shot up is from Michael DeRay. Michael says, wasn't it Marie Antoinette that said on the boy's first birthday, let them eat cake? Yeah, maybe. Olympus EM1 or EM5. edited Affinity photo with the obligatory Troy Miller border added for effect.
Love the border. Love it.
Does the border have to be black or white? Can the border be a color?
It can be a color, but remember, it'll detract from the image if you don't do it carefully. So most of the time, borders should be a very, very, very subtle hint of what's in the frame. So if it's too bright, then it just draws your attention right out of it. So black and white are a nice border. So because Mighty has a white background, black is pretty appropriate. So
Yep. And what do you think of the shot?
Well, I love the intense look on his face. He's definitely jumping into that cake. So I dig that. I feel like we have a little too much space in the top right-hand corner. So I kind of want that orange thing to go away. And I'm trying to kind of play with a crop, If you could have stepped to the right and turned to the left a little bit, you could have gotten more of just him as he dug into the cake. But I love it. Good timing.
Yep.
Peak action.
Yeah, the decisive moment. Yeah. Destruction of the cake.
Yep. Good job.
Michael DeRay. Very cool. All right. Kai Grouder's up next. He says, A Bug's Life and Death Valley. Spontaneous capture on the way. Hey, everyone's going to Death Valley. It's on the way to Death Valley. Have you ever been to Death Valley, Troy Miller?
I have. It's hot. Right
Is that
now.
where you go? Is that where you go shoot pottery and that kind of thing?
No, I don't. It's a national park. They don't like firearms there.
Oh, they don't? Oh, come on.
No.
Look at that. You ever been driving? You've been on road trips, right? You ever been driving like through the Midwest or the South and just hit a cloud of bugs?
Oh,
like a cloud that you have to pull over because you can't see anymore because your windshield is filled with corpses.
Yeah, we did that at Crater Lake, around Crater Lake when you're driving around in the evening. There's giant columns of these. I don't know what they are, and sometimes those columns are right at the edge of the road, and you just
murder.
Nothing you can do.
This is mass murder. That's crazy. Yeah, these things. You would think that through all the hundreds of generations of bugs that they would pass along to each other. Hey, you know what? See that big long black thing? Stay away from that. There's death there.
Nah, they're bugs.
Let's go hang out on the street. Yeah.
Right.
No, what do you think of this shot? Does it bug you?
I was going to say that.
I knew I had to do it first.
I was about the shot, but you stole mine.
Yes, I did.
No, I dig the concept. I dig the shot. I don't care for the car in the middle. I wish that it was a segment without the car. Maybe crop from the right. Let's say we crop in and remove the car. So we had this yellow line and a little bit of the road. We know that it's a road, and we can identify the bugs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. The car and especially the lights on the car, because they're in the kind of a triangle pattern, they kind of draw your attention to that and away from the. Not that you want to be staring at bugs, but that's kind of the subject of this photo: is that you're driving and you get hit, you go through a bug cloud. This is what happens.
Right.
Yeah, love it. Ugh. All right, moving right along.
Ugh.
The battlefield. All right, next shot is from Lamb. What did Lamb have to say today? He says, theme depth of field, title, I made it, Mom. Children going through the short suspension bridge made of ropes in a shopping mall. Some children were scared because they were afraid their legs may fall through the rope openings. Some were brave like this boy. The ropes were originally dull, light gray color, and I decided to make them stand out against the surroundings. In post-processing, rectangular cropping is preferred instead of square, as I wanted to include the boy's mom on the right of the frame. Capture in XD for post-processing. Look at that.
Yeah, I like the crop. I especially like the woman in the top right corner, or just in the right side of the frame watching. I thought that was really cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could actually crop her out and assume that the woman in red is her mom or something, but I like the full circle of the tunnel that he's climbing through. So I think that works really well. There's not a lot of depth of field in this, though. This is a shot that I wish was shot super shallow so that the people in the background were out of focus.
But in Lamb's defense, we didn't say that it needed to be shallow depth of field.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, this is.
He has a lot of depth of field. I see people way back there in the mall shopping at the Michael Kors store back there.
Right. But also, we're not getting that separation from our foreground, middle ground, background. It's sort of all one focal plane.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think that could help this image a lot. But I love the story here.
I agree. Yeah, to make your eye go. Yeah, because there's a high frequency of information around the main subject, which takes away from the main subject.
Exactly. A high frequency of it. I like that.
You like that? Yeah.
I won't remember it, but I like it.
It's just words, man. Just words. All right. Next shot up is from Peter Levshin. Oh, last but not least is Peter Levshin. Mr. Rue Pouch himself.
Yes.
Peter says, shot this with his Canon 5D Mark III 200mm f2. Thai dancers lined up, changed it to black and white for Troy. It was beautiful and graceful at the same time. This hand gesture means the photographer has... Peter.
Nice, Peter.
Nice, Peter. I am not changing my tag on this video to explicit for you, man. Sorry.
Right. What a guy.
Yeah.
I love the black and white. Thank you, Peter. Thank you for pandering. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at a crop, and I think I would crop off the left side. You can kind of see in the depth of field back there. There's another hand gesture that looks very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably crop just in front of that. So make the image square.
Oh, see, you're in a square mood today, huh?
Well, these images worked in square.
Uh-huh. Your brain is going square for some reason. Did you just finish building a square album? Is that what it is, the parent albums?
I'm like trying to figure out like how you get your hand to go back like that. My hand just goes flat. I can't.
Oh, yeah. My sister can do that. I can't do that. Mine, I don't have that range of motion. I don't know that I want to be able to pick things up with the back of my hand, though. So. I'm okay grabbing them with the grippy part.
Then you could play Gecko, though, because that's how Gecko's hands work. They go back.
No, I'm happy playing human. It's hard enough doing this. Yeah, love it. Cool shot. Good shot. Peter Levshin. All right, do we have a favorite? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, man. It's between Joshua.
Yep. And I want to say Amy.
Clinton and Amy.
Yeah. What was the second one you said?
James
Glennie. Oh, the inverted concave convex water droplets. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm really strong on Amy's, not just because of the good shallow depth of field, but I love the use of the square, the triangle, the leading lines. We have highlight and shadow that draw our attention. I mean, there's so many of those elements going on in here. I think that it's kind of like a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's fantastic.
But then there's also Joshua's too. But then I like Craig's too. I like all of them. Yeah. See, this is killing me. See, look at Craig's. This shot is cool because especially if it was cropped like you're talking about, this would be cool. It's strong as is, but to lose that sliver of foliage on the left and to lose a little bit of that water. Yeah, really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And if it had like a person sunbathing down there in a yellow bikini or something, that'd be cool too. Floating on a raft in the water.
Shark, yeah, that's what I thought.
Or a shark, yes. Yeah, with a shark somewhere nearby.
Totally drop a shark in there.
Craig Stanfield, you got some Photoshop work to do, man. You can make all that happen really easily.
Yep.
All right, and then there was Joshua Sommerfeld. Let's take a look. So... all right, of those three, which do you feel the most strong about? I'm going to let you have the final decision.
Amy's.
All right, let's see. So this one. All right, there's this week's favorite, Amy Brooks. Congratulations.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, there you go. Well, cool, man. Any parting shots before we end this episode?
I am so glad F64 is over.
You loved F64. You look like you're having a blast, man. What are you talking about?
I did, and I want to thank you for coming out. I want to thank everybody that came out. There was a whole bunch of TWiP people there. That was so much fun. We hung out with the instructors the day before. The evening of, the Frederick hosted a dinner afterwards, and that was amazing. We all got to hang out. I am already in the throes of planning next year. So, anybody who was there or who wasn't there, if you got feedback, shoot that to me. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to know what you thought. And there'll be a bunch of good stuff coming out here in the next, months, but maybe weeks. Who knows?
We gotta make number 3 the best one yet, right? Because in order to have a trend line, in order to make a decision, you got to have 3 data points, right? So number 3 will give you meaningful data to make a decision on if there should be a number 4 or not, right?
Yeah, and some of the things that we're talking about doing is we're talking about doing an advanced level class track, and then your standard track, and then we're also talking about having different levels of models per track. Mm-hmm. So that way we know who's going to get what model, because some of the models were fought over quite a bit, and they put a lot of time in. So we're like, maybe we'll spread that out a little bit.
Yeah, so. Yep. Live and learn, man. You live and learn. Very cool.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, before we end this, so F64, if people want to connect with you got any fresh new stuff up people can take a look at over at spicyjello.com?
I don't, because I've been so busy planning.
Whatever. But, F64, that was easy.
Yeah, you can check out the Capture One styles that I have there. I've got a Capture One course coming out pretty soon. You and I are working on.
Yep.
I'm sure there's stuff I'm not thinking of because there's so much stuff. Both you and I are always doing stuff.
I know. Yeah. We'll have more to announce in the coming weeks. So there's a lot of irons in the fire. So then, like I said during the keynote, we'll be on the TWiP side of things, definitely leaning stronger into community. So look for some interesting, exciting changes there.
Very excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Should be fun. All right, man.
Yeah.
We'll leave it right there. We'll see you. We'll see you next week. Oh, what's the topic for next week? We need a topic.
We do need a topic.
Yeah,
for next week.
I think we should keep it. We should keep it photographic related, or composition related, like depth of field. Right? What do you think? Leading lines.
How about a color? How about just a color?
Okay.
So like green.
All right. Is that it? Green.
Green.
All right, you heard it, folks. Next week's topic is green, the color.
And this
green.
is what happens when we're pressed to think of a topic in 12 seconds.
Troy looks around his office and finds something. Yeah.
Joshua's image was up. I looked at his image and went, "Oh, green. We should do green."
Yeah. And Skype is telling us to end the interview because it just turned your video to mashed potatoes. So.
Yeah.
It totally did. It might be me. All right, man. We'll leave it right there, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Sounds great. Take care, my friend.
All right. Peace. This is TWiP.